So, thank you everyone for coming along. To introduce myself, I am Carl, and I work for Leeds Museums and Galleries as a Learning and Access Officer. And I am in particular involved in a project called Careers for All. So Leeds Museums and Galleries is the biggest council-run museum service outside of London, and we have 9 different sites across the city of Leeds and its outskirts. So today I'm going to tell you a little bit about the project that we run, Careers for All, which is initially it was a 2-year funded program, and it was designed to engage young people with special educational needs and disabilities in a range of different career aspiring activities. So essentially, we were looking to help fill pupils with knowledge, skills, and confidence in the workplace. And this was created essentially through teacher feedback. And it was something that when my colleagues were working with local specialist provisions, they were essentially looking for different projects that these schools might want to get involved with, and careers was coming up at the top. So it's there to try and create these experiences, but also be a little bit of a bridge that can fill the gap between learning in school and being in the academic environment out to earning in the workplace. We follow the Gatsby benchmarks. For those of you who aren't familiar, it's essentially like a set of standards that teachers can use in order to make sure that they are sort of ticking off the right boxes and getting their pupils fully involved as they should be in engagement with careers-based activities. And I'm really pleased to say that the original program that we put funding out for, which is more of a physical program rather than the digital one that we're running now, had success at the Museum and Heritage Awards, and it actually got Learning Program of the Year, which was great for the hard work that went in there, but also really the as a demonstration of how important projects like this are, and that there should be more, and there could be more as well. So in terms of what we used to do before the COVID lockdown, and still do a little bit of, we engage in 4 main areas, and that includes careers fairs, both myself going out into schools and representing museums and galleries and the arts, but also we ran our very own internal one as well, where we invited local schools to come and visit, and it was all set up to be a SEND specific careers fair. Other activities we've done include outreach, so I will take a box of objects and activities out into schools, and those schools will then learn about a variety of different roles that people do within the museum and gallery through the activities that we run. There's also career taster days, and these are essentially 1-day work experience. So they're really good for being able to have a very small experience without having to commit to anything longer term. They're also set out a little bit like school workshops would be, so there's an element of familiarity behind it too. And then the final bullet point that we do, which is the biggest one in terms of the amount of work that we do with it, is work experience. So this is between 3 to 9 months, depending on the pupil. These tend to run, and we would do 1 day a week with that young person in order to give them those life skills of what it's like to be in the workplace. So the big question behind this is why museums and galleries for a careers-based program? And this is essentially down to a variety of jobs that are available within museums and galleries. So there's lots of different things that you can do and lots of things that you can get involved with within museums and galleries. And that goes from not only sort of the arts and creative side, but also the scientific side. And it really marries up those two subjects really well, and allows for a variety of different opportunities. So, for example, curators and conservation can be very different in that you've got the research and the reading and the documentation side, compared to sort of the more scientific how to clean and maintain objects. And then, of course, there's jobs like front of house and learning and technicians. So there's a lovely wide variety that we offer, and all of these different opportunities are things that we promote within our careers for all offer as well. So COVID did become a little bit of a barrier, but it actually brought strength to our program, and it made it broader in terms of choice for the future. And the reason I say this is because we want to continue to actually use the resources and the activity ideas that have been created during the lockdown and the restrictions out into the future, because we've actually found that some of these activities are preferable for the young people that we work with in comparison to actually having a physical placement on site. So we have introduced things such as Zoom the Professional, and these are essentially Q&A sessions with a person or several people from a particular department. So if there is a department that a pupil is really interested in, or a class is really interested in, they can book a session to have a conversation about what it's like to be in a particular job and how to get a job like that too. We also have workshops that are more broadly about the range of different museums and galleries roles, and we do sensory Zooms as well, which are less heavily focused on perhaps the things that curators do, but have the aspect of current issues in the museum sector that we cover through sensory engagement. So a particularly popular one that we're doing at the moment is we are looking at climate change and environment. So there's all sorts of sensory things we do with listening to the sound of the oceans and feeling materials within your fingers that can engage a range of different pupils too. We've also been able to update our resources on a website called My Learning, which is a national learning platform aimed at teachers, and it's full of national curriculum resources, but more recently has had an injection of careers material in there as well as activities, pictures, images, resources, lesson ideas, and information that you can all take from there in order to essentially teach in your own classes, so teachers can be more independent that way from us. Placements have also changed, so even though there has been restrictions and we're not allowed to have volunteers and placements on site, we changed it to a digital format instead, and we've had different pupils doing different things. So one pupil who joined us, an autistic pupil, they did autism training as their placement. So they worked alongside me and we co-wrote an autism training session to deliver to the rest of the staff. We've also had blog posts as a placement where a pupil has been paired up with a curator of a particular collection, and then together they've written blog posts. And then finally, My Learning and our social media as well. So we've had our tweets taken over and planned by pupils on placement too. So in order to prepare these, we have these placement prep forms, and essentially it's designed so that we can fit a placement to the pupil and make it suitable for them. So one of the key things to point out about Careers for All is we have an idea of the number of different activities that a pupil can do, but it's not prescribed the moment that they decide to join in with us. So we don't have one particular style of placement that pupil has to do. And this is where these forms come really in handy. So we ask what a pupil is enthusiastic about and what gives them energy and what drains their energy. And with this information, it allows us to then actually decide from a range of different activities and work experience opportunities what that pupil could engage with, and we'll come back to them with options afterwards. So it's not channeling or funneling our placements. They are not off the peg, as it were. They are designed to help that pupil to move forward with the things that they want to do. And all of this is then recorded on timesheets by the placement pupil. So they record their date, time, hours, minutes, and also the tasks that they do. And this is a really good place where skills and knowledge can be entered. Depending on the pupil, will change how these forms are filled in. So some pupils will fill it in themselves. Others will dictate to their workplace mentor, and their mentor will fill it in. And some pupils, we will work with them, observe them, and fill it in for them at the end, depending upon the reading and writing ability of that young person. So essentially, this is one of the things that we like to use that helps make their placement more meaningful, in that the tasks down the side and the skills and knowledge that they've done, they have recorded it. So if they're going into a job interview, or if they are applying for a job, then they've recorded it within these timesheets, and they can go back over, and that would hopefully give them a little bit of confidence in being able to apply for a job in the future. So just to cover a little bit just before I finish about how it makes Careers for All is different to mainstream placements that we do. We very much create Careers for All to be pupil-led, not off the peg, as mentioned before. And it's targeted to harness those interests and skills, which is a strength that museums can offer. We use a style called systematic instruction whilst we're on placement, which is a way of splitting up tasks in order to make them easier to understand from the start, and then can get more complex as time goes on. Low initial commitment is also something that we're really keen on. So it could just be an hour for a work placement day initially, which then expands into 2 hours. And over time, if that pupil grows in confidence, then it can become a full school day instead. And finally, really, the digital aspect of what we've done can definitely be more accessible to some pupils than others. I've had a placement pupil who said that they preferred it this way, and they felt more comfortable. And indeed a tutor as well, who said that their pupil would not have engaged with us if they had to come on site. So we've got the strength now of having both physical placements and digital going forwards. So on that note, I will stop talking there. There are details there on the screen if you'd like to get in contact with me, and also a website link to Careers for All and My Learning if you want to read the careers resources that are up on that site too. So thank you very much, everybody, for listening. I'm going to stop the screen share now, and have a look in case there are any comments in the chat. If you've got any questions that you'd like to ask, then please do feel free to place them in the chat, or you can unmute your microphone and let me know.
Carl, thank you very much for that. That was absolutely inspiring. I missed part of it because my children were playing up, so I had to go off and do something. But I caught the majority of what you were talking about. What a brilliant program. I really like a few of the things that around low initial commitment, particularly because I think a lot of mainstream placements, work experience, all the rest of it, ask people to sign up for a specific amount of time, and that can be a real barrier for people in terms of confidence and being able to commit in a certain way. And I think that's great. I think that's a really great way of getting someone to buy into something and to really want to do something. So I think that's fantastic. Yeah, really impressed.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. The low commitment is something that I implemented from the very start. So like I mentioned, some pupils are with us for 3 months, some for 9, and it all depends on the individual. We even had a placement pupil who did essentially 1 day and then didn't come back for 3 months, and then restarted their placement and continued to work with us from then. So it is designed to match the pace of the pupils that we work with, not our own personal choice.
Can I just ask one question, because I might have missed this while I was out of the room? So what age do you engage with? Because some of these are just children at school, aren't they?
Yeah. So we engage with predominantly secondary. In terms of work experience placements, we work with 16 to 25, but the career taster days, so the 1-day work experience and the outreach programs, we deliver essentially anybody secondary school age and upwards to 25.
Great, thank you very much.
Great. And that brings us to about time. So thank you very much, everybody, for coming along. If you want to get in contact, then my details will be on the information that was sent out before the event. And otherwise, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day.